Okay, so we're going to look at adding and subtracting fractions. Now, the adding and subtracting is really nice if you have the same denominator for your fraction. There's two situations that can happen. Either the denominator or the bottom line is the same, or the denominator is different. Okay, we'll do the same denominator first. It's the easiest. So if we have the same denominator, we can add them straight up. We just have to look at what's on the bottom. It's a fifth, and that's going to be the denominator of the answer as well. And we just add together what's on the top. So 1 plus 2, which is 3, 3/5. And what that would look like if we drew a picture of it, just so you can see, if we had fifths, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that should be even, pretend that's even, and 1, 2, 3, 4. If we're looking at adding 1/5 and 2/5, because they're the same, you could straight up add them together, and we could even put that here. So 1, 2, 3. It would be this far along. So 3/5. Now if we have a look again at the next one, we've got 3/5 take away 2/5. All right, and the reason I've coloured this in is it's going to be nice, we can see it. So we've got 3/5 on the top, and we're going to take away 2 of those fifths. Now straight away you can see, because they're lined up, you can see that you would have, just delete them, these 2/5 taken away. So only that one would be shaded. So we're going to have 1/5 as an answer. And if we write it down, we've got fifths as the denominator, okay, and we've got 3 take away 2, which is 1. So same denominator, it's really easy. It's just straight up adding and subtracting like you've done before. When it's a different denominator, it's a little bit harder. Now, what we need to do here is we need to get it to the same denominator. We have to get it so that they're the same, and then we can work with them. So, easiest way when you're looking at two fractions to do this is to look at the two bottom numbers. Okay, and we've got a 3 and a 5 here. To make the denominator the same, what I do, which is easiest, is to just multiply denominator, those numbers together. So our denominator is going to be 3 times 5, which is 15. So we're going to have our answer as being over 15. So let's look at the two fractions you've got. You've got 2/3 and you've got 4/5. Let's make them both over 15, so equivalent fractions. So to make it over 15, remember we have to times the bottom by something that makes it 15, which would be 5. Do the same to the top as you did to the bottom. It's going to be 10. Here, 4/5 times 3, because we want to have that same denominator. We know 5 times 3 is 15. And do the same to the top as you did to the bottom. So 12/15. Okay, now we can actually do our sum. So we had 2/3, which we now know is 10 over 15. Take away, or plus this one, not take away, plus 4/5. And we now know that 4/5 is equivalent to 12/15. So if we add those together, we've got 10 plus 12, 15ths, 10/15, 12/15, which is 22/15. Okay, so that means for our question here, 2/3 plus 4/5 is equal to, and I'll put that in red so we can see it, equal to 22 over 15. Now sometimes you may be able to simplify your answer here as well. Just depends what you get out. This one here, there's nothing nice that goes into both of those, so that's where we'd stop. Okay, this one, 7/10 minus 2/5. Again, we need to have the same denominator. So have a think, what would you make the same denominator here? There's actually two ways you can excuse me, do this. Okay, the first way would be like we did up here. So you'd do, let's make the denominator 10 times 5, which would be 50. So you'd be multiplying to get 50 on the bottom and doing it just like this. There is a nice way if you've got numbers like this though that's a bit quicker. So what you can do, have a look at your numbers, 10 and 5. Now you know that 5 times 2 would actually give you 10. So we could use this as our common denominator. So you can sometimes see that straight away. So you know 5 times 2 would be 10. So let's use our same denominator as 10. And look again at the fractions we have. We have 7/10 and we have 2/5. Now 7/10 is already how we want it. It's already over 10, so that's fine. We don't have to do anything with that. But let's do something with the 2/5. Now we want it to be over 10. So times 2 makes that over 10. And times the top by the same number. So that's going to be 2 times 2, which is 4. So we know that 2/5 is the same as 4 over 10. So what we're going to look at for our problem now is 7/10 take away, and we know 2/5 is 4 over 10. So we've got 7 take away 4. So 7 take away 4, which is 3 over 10. So our answer for this problem, 7/10 minus 2/5 is 3 over 10. And there's nothing more we can do with that. That's in its simplest form. Okay, so always with questions with different denominators, make them have the same denominator. Either multiply these numbers together to figure out what that new denominator will be, so 15 here, or if you can see a nice easy one, like 10 would be a nice one here, we just have to multiply one of the fractions then. Just saves us a bit of work. But adding and subtracting, it's all about having the same denominator. As long as you've got the same denominator, it's easy peasy.